live, so I must be live. I am live, hopefully, on the Dixie Belle YouTube channel. Say hi if you're watching. I am Connie. I am a furniture painter, obviously, or I wouldn't be here. That'd be a bit weird, wouldn't it? And I am also a Dixie Belle brand ambassador. And today, I've got my other tripod, which is here. Hi, Sam. Good morning to you. Today, I'm going to be painting this thing behind. So if you follow me on my social media channels, that is a stool, by the way. That's a stool making that noise. If you follow me on my social media, Facebook and Instagram, and you might, or in fact YouTube, you might have seen, good morning, hello. You might have seen this piece a few weeks ago. Probably should have been done by now, but it was one of those pieces that I started with great enthusiasm, and I thought, got a banging idea, I'll make it into like a little series on my YouTube channel, and I'll start with the prep and we'll move on, and then we'll do a decorative finish and whatever. And I started with the prep, and then I hit a bit of a dead wall, what's the word, brick wall. I hit a bit of a brick wall. I had a lot of ideas, probably too many, which sometimes is the case with me. And I couldn't decide what to do. So I actually put it to my followers. I kind of asked people what they wanted. And what they wanted was paper napkin decoupage. I mean, I did give options because we'd have been there all day. So I did narrow it down slightly. And I haven't done paper napkin decoupage for ages. I'm not going to do that today, but I am going to start to put down a bit of a base now. This might seem a little bit counterintuitive because I'm going to put a brown base on to give the impression of wood. And this is a wooden cabinet. However, I didn't know the direction that this piece was going to go when I started it. It could have gone for a one colour clean look, and it hasn't. It's gone the opposite way. So I'm going to go for a little bit of a distress kind of look. I feel like I want to use Terra because I haven't used Terra with decoupage yet. So let's see how that goes. You don't know until you try, and I'll try. And if it's a fail, I'll say it's a fail. So I'm going to try that over Terra. But because how Terra obviously reactivates when you use water, even if the paint, so a lot of people ask what the difference is between chalk mineral paint and Terra. The main difference is that it reactivates with water, even if it's been dry days. So you can keep chalk mineral paint open or wet in order to be able to blend it with a water mister bottle. It loves water. Chalk mineral paint absolutely loves water. Unlike silk, not a fan of water. Doesn't like H2O. So silk, you kind of have to, it just wants to be on its own. Don't put water to it, does not fan. Silk, all-in-one mineral paint, built-in primer, built-in top coat. Really good for clean, one colour finishes. Easiest paint in the world to do a flip with. Chalk mineral paint, very versatile. You can get smooth finishes, you can get decorative finishes, you can get textured finishes, you can get crackled finishes, you can get blended finishes. You can get all the finishes with chalk mineral paint. You can keep the open time open longer with water. It loves water. But when it is dry, so you allow that to dry down for an hour, couple of hours or whatever, it is very hard, nigh impossible, to get that to reactivate again. You could, if you really scrubbed it, added loads of water, you probably could get a little bit of the paint to lift, but once it is dry, it's dry. And a lot of people think that you have to top coat chalk mineral paint. That is not the case. It's a very durable paint, and a lot of people choose to top coat it because it's a matte finish, and obviously its sort of usability is a little bit easier when there is a top coat to it for purposes of cleaning, dusting. But I don't dust, so I don't know what that is. I've just heard people say it. And those kind of things. So that's why people use a top coat with chalk mineral paint. It does increase durability. It makes it easier to clean. And obviously there are different purposes for furniture, you know, dressing tables, vanities, kitchen tables, all those different kinds of things mean that there's loads of different kinds of top coats that you can use accordingly. Terra, you can leave that bad boy to dry for 2 weeks. You get a little spray of water near it and she's reactivated. She's very unstable paint. I don't mean it's unstable. I mean, I'm just using it as a metaphor. She has to be sealed. Terra clay paint has to be sealed. You do not want to seal that paint. It's very porous, and that's why there are specialist top coats to use with it, because it is a completely different paint. It sucks in anything that you get near it, and that changes the colour of the paint and can reactivate it. So that's why you've got to be very careful with what top coats you do apply onto Terra. So there are differences between each paint range, and they can all work with one another absolutely fine. Not wet though. So it's not advised to mix them when they're wet, but you can layer them when they're dry, if that makes sense. So you can use silk as a base and put Terra over it when it's dry, when the silk is dry. You can use chalk mineral paint as a base, put silk over it. You can put chalk mineral paint as a base, put Terra over it. The only thing is, because they are completely different paints, just best not to mix them when they're wet, but if you want to, no one's going to stop you. There aren't any paint police. So this piece. My plan for this, after realising that everybody wanted me to do a bit of paper napkin decoupage, it seemed very popular, my plan is to, sorry for all the talking as well, my plan is to give this a sort of a dark wood. So the wood that was originally, the drawer's stuck shut. This is how long it's been. So this is the original colour of this cabinet. It's not old. It's not lovely old nice pine. It's nasty horrible orange pine. It's actually a very modern piece, as you can tell from the joints here. It's not dovetail joint. It is solid pine, but it's not of any kind of sort of age or anything. So if I'm distressing a piece, I want it to look like a nice piece underneath. I don't want it to look like cheap, horrible pine. So I'm going to give it a base of dark brown today. Oh, I'm going to just turn my camera on because I always forget to do that. And then I wonder why I don't have the right amount of footage. Let me know where you are tuning in from if you are watching me on YouTube. So I've got 2 colours. And true to style, the lids are a bit crusty and I can't even read what that one is. So do we think that's chocolate? I think that's chocolate. All I know it's brown. It looks like chocolate to me. Not actual chocolate, the colour chocolate. And I've got also coffee bean, which is my go-to brown if I want to make something look like faux wood underneath, if that makes sense. So I'm going to start by layering. I'm just going to make it up as I go along, to be honest. I'm going to start by layering some of the 2 browns. I've got these brushes. I'm not going to lie, I could even double dip. I'm not going to be precious about the application of this. All I want is, because obviously I've primed, and this is a video that I've done specifically for how to prep pine furniture. That is a right mouthful. You're from Montreal, Canada. Hello. I love your name, by the way, Genevieve. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, so this is this little pine cabinet. I've done a video specifically on how to prep pine furniture, because pine is really, really popular. Well, it is in England anyway, in the UK. It's a really popular wood to upcycle. It's relatively inexpensive, it's solid, it paints beautifully. You can get it in quite a lot of different kind of styles. but it is lovely and chunky and solid. So you know you're painting something that's going to last. So a lot of people obviously upcycle pine, and for that reason I specifically did a video on pine prep on my YouTube channel. So this has been bossed, as you can see, with grey boss, and I'm also kind of gonna scrub the paint on so that I've got a little bit of texture. I'm not going to use a texture additive. I don't want it to kind of bumpy and lumpy, but I do want a little bit of texture because it's going to suit the piece, I hope, when it's done. Also, not going to worry too much about the panels, the panel on the door, because that is where I plan to do my decoupage. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. Just don't want there to be any gaps where you can see the grey primer. So if I'm going to distress this, I don't want to be seeing the grey primer underneath. I want to see something that looks a little bit like wood. And this is the closest thing I've got to actual dark wood. These kind of deeper brown colours, and you're only going to see hints of it. So, you know, I don't need to kind of get out the wood graining tool or anything kind of drastic. It's just going to, hopefully, it's just going to kind of be hints. So the other way that I could have done this is by, whoa, I just kicked the tripod. Hope you're okay. The other way that I could have done this, where am I putting you? I feel like you can't see me and you can't see the cabinet. It's a very awkward piece, and I have to keep off the floor at the minute because I've got a bad knee, and I keep like rolling around on the floor, and it's not that good for my knee. So the other thing that I could have done with this is, had I have known the path that I was going to go down with it, I could have, what could I have done? I could have stained it. I could have stained the actual wood grain. I could have used no paint gel stain, and I could have gone down that path and stained the actual pine darker so that when I distressed back, you don't get the orange pine, you get the darkness, you get the sort of darker stain. I could have gone down that path, but at the time, I didn't know. I didn't know what I was going to be doing. So we've prepped it anyway, and hopefully the video is going to be useful. So it is looking like an absolute mess at the minute, isn't it? I do want mainly it to be kind of chocolate, I think. No, coffee bean. I'm only going to use a little bit of chocolate. And I was going to take the handles off and do a bit of decoupage on these teeny weeny drawers at the bottom. However, they are like, it's like doweling, and it's wood glue, and they're not coming off. So I mean, I could get them off if I wanted to. I could cut them, or I could bang it out, but I'm not going to. I do not want to make, I don't want to make it more difficult for myself. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes when you paint furniture, or definitely this applies to me, you kind of have to pivot to make your life easier. And this has happened loads of times to me before. You might have an absolutely cracking idea. You might have a really, really good idea, and then the furniture's got other ideas. And I honestly believe I have tried to force furniture to do things. I have tried to go with my original plan and make it do things. And in the end, I just get completely frustrated. And I don't see the point. That's not what painting is about for me. I kind of like to flex it up and think, okay. So originally I planned to strip the wood grain and have this beautiful veneer. But the veneer is chipped or cracked, or it's not in great condition. So we'll paint it. I'm not one for fussing over things too much. I just like to kind of roll with it a little bit and and kind of see where it takes me. And sometimes you do have to pivot in furniture painting. Yeah, that's my take on it. Other people might not want to do that. Other people might want to have a plan and stick to it, but it just ends up really annoying me. That does. It just ends up getting on my nerves, taking forever, when if I'd have just pivoted, I'd have probably had it done in half the time. So vintage furniture, second-hand furniture, does kind of throw curveballs quite often. But I just like to pivot. Just pivot. And just think, okay, park that. I'll do that on another piece. I'll do that for next time. Save that for next time. This was also in the background when I did a live last week, was it? So I did a live on the Chalk Paint 101 page, Facebook page, with my kids. Dixie Belle asked, and that's basically what happens. Yeah, you could enhance the knobs with Gilder's paste. Yep, yeah, you could do that. That's not going to be the look that I'm going for. I've just double dipped. I'm not going to be using kind of anything blingy on here, but you absolutely could do. If there's any handles that you can't remove on a piece for whatever reason, vintage, you're gonna sort of compromise it. If you do take it off, you can always clean them in situ, take them off. Some people paint over handles. I do as well, depending on the piece. And then you can go over the top of it with gilding wax, just to add a little bit of sparkle back onto it. I'm not going to be using gilding wax on this because we're going for a little bit more of a rustic vibe with this. So we're thinking maybe kind of like farmhousey, rusticy vibe. Maybe a little bit of chippiness, a bit of distressing, that kind of thing. So I'm just using 2 colours, and it's just going to be super quick, super easy. And this is just going to kind of give the impression that the piece underneath, we've got wildlife flying in, the piece underneath the paint, which is going to be Terra paint, eventually. So the piece underneath the paint, it is going to give the impression that it's old and a nice dark wood instead of that horrible cheap pine that is actually under there, if that makes sense. So these 2 colours, if you have only just tuned in, these are chalk mineral paint colours, and it's coffee bean and chocolate. Like I say, I could have stripped this and stained it. Or I could have stained it with no paint gel stain, which actually doesn't need stripping. It doesn't need the wood to be stripped to be a stain. No paint gel stain will actually sit over the top of an existing finish, so you don't have to strip the wood completely back in order to use that product. So I could have gone down that route, but I didn't know I was going to do this, if that makes sense, at the time. That's why we're here. We're kind of primed, and now we're painting a piece to look like wood that was originally wood, but not dark wood. It's complicated. It's just how it goes sometimes. So yeah, as I was saying, nice bit of dog hairs there. This piece was actually in the background when I did my live with my kids last week. And it did get a little bit of pistachio flicked on it, because if any of you saw it, I'm really hoping you didn't. Herbie went a little bit crazy. Went a little bit wild with the pistachio. Sorry, Sue, I missed your question, and I don't even know how you get questions back up. Shall I press this button and see what happens? I'm scared. No. Don't know what I did. I pressed a button and it didn't do anything. So, yeah, pistachio is a gorgeous colour. It's definitely my new favourite. I'm not going to be using pistachio on this. I don't think. I've got to look through my paper napkin supply and see what I've got in there. So I had a little bit of a problem with purchasing paper napkins. I've managed to sort that out now. Yeah, the shelf is getting a tan. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've managed to sort my issue with paper napkins out, but there was a time when there was a serious addiction to paper napkins, and I'd buy it and think, oh, I'll do something pretty with that, and then I'd put it in a box. And then I think, oh, I've just seen another paper napkin. I'm going to buy that, and then I'll put it in a box. And before you know it, I've got a box this big full of paper napkins. Very pretty paper napkins, but not used paper napkins. So haven't used them for a while, so it'd be nice to go through the stash and find something that I can use on this. So not entirely sure on the colours yet. Hiccups, excuse me. Not entirely sure on the colour scheme. You've never used a single one. See, I have used a lot back in the day, way before even Dixie Belle was in the UK, probably before I'd even heard of Dixie Belle. When I first started out, I was a little bit of a fiend for using paper napkin decoupage. I would only pick up pieces that I could use paper napkin decoupage on, so pieces with panels or something. You are, so with lots of papers. Yeah, I know. I just see pretty things and I think I'll use that one day, and then don't. I've also got quite a nice stash of wallpaper as well, which you can do decoupage with. Again, it's just there on a shelf. But the good thing about it is it's never going to go away. I seem to have caught some bubble wrap underneath my wheels of my stool. So you can see how quick it is to kind of build up that dark wood. And if you squint, Etsy's the worst, I know. Etsy and eBay. The good thing about those ones, though, is that you can buy individual paper napkins. So you don't have to buy a huge pack. I mean, they're not a lot of money anyway. We're not talking like hundreds of pounds, but talking a couple of quid. But you can buy individual ones so you can mix and match them. And it's dangerous. Very, very dangerous. So I am going to do in here as well, because obviously this is going to be painted. I don't know what's squeaking. Oh, it's the metal hangers on my fake wall. I'll let you into a secret. My staging wall isn't even a real wall. Not even a real wall. This wall here, there's a huge window behind it. But when I realised I needed somewhere permanent to work and stage, Andy boarded the window up for me, because I'm in a sunroom, conservatory for UK folks, sunroom for you guys in the US. And obviously there's too many windows. There's not a wall that allows me to stage, but I do have natural light all the way down this side. That's why I don't need any artificial lighting, maybe sometimes in the winter. But yeah, this is a window behind here, a huge window. You can actually see the top. Oh, where is she? There you go. You can see. Can you see? Andy did a sterling job. You can see the line down the side there. You can see daylight, which really annoys me. I said to him, just make a good job, and he was like, okay, bang. And I was like, yeah, okay, as long as I never get those parts in, then it's going to be fine. So I have to chop them out for when I edit my pictures. Otherwise you'd see little cracks of daylight. chocolate's one of those colours that it's super satisfying. Yeah, Lisa, it is amazing to work in. It does have pros and cons, not gonna lie. So obviously lighting is without doubt, it's just, excuse the squeak, it's invaluable. I see so many people struggle with lighting in their studios or workspaces, and I'm super lucky because, like I say, even in the winter the lighting's pretty good. Downside is it gets really hot in the summer and cold in the winter. Although there is a radiator in here, it's only a single skin, so it's like an extension on the house that the old owners put on, and it's only a single skin brick kind of thing, and there's no insulation. So you'll heat this room up, turn the heater off, and within about 10 minutes it's cold again. So the heat's just basically, it's like throwing £5 notes out the window, just heating this room. It's so annoying. So because of that, it's harder to dry paint in the winter. But we're just kind of debating what we need to do long term. I don't even know why I'm telling you this. You're probably not interested. I don't know whether we're going to extend it, knock it down, do it properly, insulate it, make do. I don't know. We'll see. But it's served me well for the last however many years I've been painting. 6 years or so. I mean, at one point you couldn't even walk through because it had that much furniture rammed into it. That's before I decided I need external storage for unpainted pieces, because again, I did have a little bit of a problem with purchasing furniture when I first started. I could probably not purchase any furniture for the next 2 years and still have enough furniture and content to paint a piece a week. That's how big of a problem I had. I've got 3 storage units, 2 big units on a farm, and then a shipping container that's insulated, which has all my painted pieces in. And also accidentally got some unpainted pieces in there as well, because I ran out of storage at the farm. So yeah, there are problems, paper napkin problems and furniture problems, but I feel like they're not the worst problems that I could have. So yeah, but I have, over the last couple of years, and definitely since becoming a brand ambassador, I have slowed down on the old furniture buying. We don't have a garage. We don't have a garage here. Our property is weird. It's a weird shape. We've got a huge front and back garden. Yeah, Jackie, it was. I had like a little walkway, and this is our only way out the back as well. So people have to come through here, through my workshop, to get out onto the back. We've got patio doors onto the decking and the garden. You can't get out of the house unless you come through this way. So people were like shuffling sideways through past all like piled up furniture right up to the top, and I was like, this has got to stop. But then I'd see a bargain on Facebook Marketplace and I'd buy it, and then I'd think, oh, I need somewhere to store it now. So yeah, but I do feel like I've got a lot better with time. I've got some absolutely banging pieces in storage though. I genuinely would not need to purchase furniture for a good couple of years. And I haven't looked on Facebook Marketplace for ages, because the day that I do, I'll see something amazing. And at the minute, I haven't got a van. Our van blew up, not once, but twice. For those of you who don't follow me, that was a bit unfortunate. It's not a problem if you can stop anytime you want. The only thing that is stopping me at the minute is the lack of the van. I've just seen a lovely desk on Facebook Marketplace, and it's gorgeous and chunky and rustic. And I was like, well, it's a good job I haven't got a van, because I'd be halfway there to purchase it by now. But yeah, our van blew up. The engine needed rebuilding, so we sent it off to be rebuilt, and then it blew up again. Less than 1,000 miles later, and halfway on holiday. That was fun. That was a fun day. I don't ask my mum. I won't ask my mum, because she would help me. She's got a pickup. She would help me, but also there would be judgment. Do you really need this? Connie, would be the question. And I'd say, it's my job. So yeah, I'm still without a van. Boo-hoo. There we go. Like I say, I'm leaving this panel. That's where the paper napkin decoupage is going to go. So I'm not going to paint that brown because I'm only going to be painting it white at a later stage. So there's absolutely no point to painting that brown. Not too precious about that. Apart from the inside, which, did I prime this? I've just painted the handle and now I need to open it. I primed the inside, but I didn't prime the inside of the door. Excellent. So apart from the inside, that is all that I need to do to kind of give a dark kind of wood base. You like the grey coming through the dark paint right now. Yeah, I don't even think I'm going to be giving this a second coat, if I'm brutally honest, because the more layers the better. So I just didn't want, when this was distressed, I mean, it would probably look perfectly fine. It just looked like another painted piece underneath. But when I distressed this, I did want to see little bits of the darker brown coming through. And Terra clay paint distresses really easily. So that's going to be fun. So I'm going to be building these layers up. I'm going to be live again tomorrow on my own YouTube channel, building the layers up with Terra on this. In the meantime, I'm going to find some decoupage that's suitable for here. I'm going to choose my colours accordingly and then join me tomorrow on my own YouTube channel where I'm going to start building some layers and some distressing with Terra. So that'll be fun. I just hope I can find it, that I narrow it down out of my thousands of paper napkins. I hope I can find one that I like and that's suitable. So yeah, I'm going to be, you know how I said when the kids go back to school, post on Facebook. You think I'm that organised but put a post on Facebook 10 minutes before? Jackie. Oh, Jackie. I just press the button and go live. That's how I roll. So, you know how I said, oh, that was my camera. That was my expensive camera. You know how I said olives would be nice. Olives would be nice. You don't need to talk me into painting greens. Say no more. So I need to look at my paper napkins. Don't talk me into greens before I've found paper napkins, because I might not find something that's suitable. Don't. So anyway, you know how I said before, when the kids go back to school, I'm going to time myself into doing a regular weekly live on my own YouTube channel. Obviously, this time slot is always the same time every week. I want to do the same on my own YouTube channel because I just go on whenever I feel like it at the minute, every week, but whenever I feel like it. So, you heard it here first. Wednesdays are going to be my new day. Don't know what time. I'm going to say 1. I'm going to say 1 o'clock because 2 o'clock, the only problem with 2 is that my kids come out at 3. It doesn't give me much time to kind of close down, get to school, do all the things. Sometimes I have to walk to school if I haven't got a car, all the rest of it. So 2 o'clock's cutting a bit fine and it makes me rush, and I don't like the feeling of being rushed. So I'm going to turn this off because it's, turn my other camera off. It's just got the side of my face talking to you. So I'm going to say 1 o'clock on a Wednesday. So it's still not too early. It's not like 5 a.m. EST or anything daft. So excellent, Jackie. I'm so glad to hear that that's good for you. 1 o'clock on a Wednesday. That's going to be my regular time slot to go live on my YouTube channel. And I know that is still quite early for some of you in the US, but obviously you can always catch the replay. And I do save them to a playlist where you can go and watch them because something always happens that's silly. I'm so sorry, it's 5 a.m. See, I can't do any later than 2 anyway, because I have to go get my kids. And then when my kids come home, it's like someone's thrown a hand grenade and it's just chaos. It's just chaos. They want feeding, they want things, they want exercise, they've got homework. and I just can't do it in the evenings. And then by the time it is sort of their time to go to bed, I need wine. So, yeah, but I do always save them to the playlist where you can go back and watch them. And if you are ever up that early, you know, you can see this. Not that anyone would want to see that at that time in the morning. Oh, you are an early riser anyway. Yeah, I get up early as well. So, yeah, I always used to do my lives really early. Well, even earlier than what I do now. So, anyway, we're rambling again, aren't we? Anyway, anyway, thank you for joining me. It's been chatty and not so much painting. We've just painted something brown. But it's useful to see these steps, isn't it, sometimes, I suppose. Is it? I don't know. But I turned up, didn't I? Turned up, did the thing. Now I'm going again. Okay. I'll see you all tomorrow, hopefully, if you can make it. If not, I'd love to see you on the replay. Or, as always, drop any comments in below and I'll read them. Or drop me a message on my other social media platforms. Have a lovely day. Once again, thank you for joining me. See you tomorrow. Bye.